Welcome to the Lifting Lounge podcast. Join your hosts Josh Parkin and Jack Buffery as they give you the knowledge and the tools to take your physical and mental performance to the next level.
Just in time.
Nice
try. Nice try. You weren't looking at the screen, so I thought I'd hit record.
I'm always prepared, Jack. I'm always ready.
I mean, we know from experience that is clearly not true. Just like look at last episode, for example.
Shush.
How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Not too bad. Busy. We're kicking ass, taking names, cashing necks and cracking necks, cashing checks and cracking necks. I can't speak. But yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm feeling like streamlined with my streamlined new haircut. Like I do for like a bit of ASMR right now. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's oh okay. That's me rubbing my head. What about this?
Oh, yeah.
That's me rubbing my head against the microphone because I just got bored and shaved my head. So much so I've shaved it even more since last time you saw me. And you saw me about 5 hours ago. I keep on just taking random bits off it and trying to like tidy it up. I think I may have fucked up though. I think on the back of my head, I may have put a stripe in there. So Kimberly might have to sort that out later on. Yeah, it's all good. I've
gone the opposite way. My hair's getting really long.
It is getting a bit wild. I'm just jealous of your hairline, man. Look at that.
Well, I mean, it's not actually. I hide it quite well.
Yeah, that's not too bad though. Like the M shape isn't too bad. Like mine is just turning into a giant U shape, so that's not cool. So I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna shave it off.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's all good. Pissing down here at the moment. Unfortunately, it is a wet day. It's supposed to get worse later on. So, but you know, we keep on cracking anyway because it's good. It's interesting. So, for any new listeners, both myself and Josh work in semi-outdoor gyms. Let's say they're open to the environment. So when it's wet, it's not like the worst. But come winter, when it gets cold and wet, like it kind of gets like cold and wet. So this is like a tease when it's like this. It's still quite warm, but the threat of getting wet is definitely there, depending on the program of our clients. So. We are.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't mind it.
Nah, I don't. To be fair,
no.
It's all about pre-planning with decent clothes.
Yes, definitely. So, Jack, when it comes to tips, I like my tips fit for purpose. You know, I like it when the tip I have has some kind of functionality to it and allows me to do the things that I need to do, or a tip that, you know, can perform. So I was wondering if you had a tip that was fit for purpose for me today.
I mean, I get several emails every week in my junk box that could potentially offer a better performing and functional tip, but let's go into my particular tip, and this might help you. And the tip for today is become functional. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a subject we have touched on many times. Functional can be quite a controversial subject because it means different things to different people. To try and paint everything under the same brush as functional training can cause a little bit of confusion, because what is functional? That is largely dependent on yourself. In a previous episode, we've talked about it before. There's certain movements that we believe should be functional, like squats, hinging at the hips, pressing overhead, and pressing in like a push-up position. Those sorts of things should be functional, but also what is functional to the individual. So the best way to do this, so my tip when I say become functional, is look at what you are doing in everyday life and what you would like to be doing in everyday life. And if you are uncertain of how to train your body, start there. Look what you want to be doing and look what you should be doing every day, and that will give you a good idea of what functional should mean to you. So start there, start improving those aspects of your life.
Yeah, training's always meant to be about training is more about an accessory to everyday life. So if
Mm-hmm.
your life and the things that you want to do, say you really just want to be good at surfing because you really like surfing and that's your favorite hobby and it's your favorite pastime, then your training should supplement that. It should be about
Mm-hmm.
making sure that you can paddle without getting exhausted, making sure you can pop up quicker on the board, all of that sort of stuff, having good core stability, having good balance. So then you train for that in the gym. It's the same with hiking or anything along those lines. Or maybe you're just really into, or maybe you're a construction worker and you lift a lot of heavy things all the time. So maybe it's important that you are training your body to withstand putting things in awkward places and carrying heavy things and whatever that is, however it looks. But your training should really supplement your everyday life, unless you are just training for a sport or you're training just to have just general longevity and health.
But even those, like, you're still functional. If you're a high level sprinter, you want to be functional in that. So it is still functional. Functional is like a relative term. No matter what you're doing, you want your body to be, another way to say functional, I guess, is to say fit for purpose. You want to be fit for purpose for the pursuits that you are trying to pursue. So yeah, guys, become functional. What are you becoming functional in at the moment?
It's a shame because well, what am I becoming functional in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question actually. I haven't thought about that. I guess at the moment it's my main thing at the moment is trying to become like injury free. I seem
Mm-hmm.
to keep pulling up injuries left, right, and center for different things. So I'm trying to build a body that's like more resilient so I can withstand the more intense training and do cooler stuff. But every time I try to do cooler stuff at the moment, something crops up. So there's a lot of things I need to work on to become a bit more resilient. And it's interesting with the word functional because the word functional, I think, got a bit of a bad rep due to loads of people using it for maybe the wrong reasons and saying that you should do all these crazy exercises because it's more functional to daily life. When actually, functional training is very simple. It's just looking at specific movement patterns you have and then mimicking those in the gym with basic patterns.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is perfectly true. So, guys, whatever you feel functional is to you, just adapt your training so it aligns with that. You don't want to be training in the wrong direction. And if it is sport specific or something like that, then the best way to train for that is to do it, and then the strength training is a supplement to that. It's usually not the other way around. So, go on.
What about you? What about your functional? What's your functional thing at the moment?
So my functional, to be completely honest, and it's, if you said this to someone who is a supposed functional trainer, this would almost be like, no, that's you're doing it all wrong. But my functional at the moment, I'm actually looking for a I was scouring Facebook Marketplace earlier on to look for a treadmill, because I'm going to get a treadmill so I can work whilst getting my movement in for the day. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself for winter as well, when I know the daylight hours are so vastly reduced that it's going to be more difficult for me to get my steps in, because obviously we start very early and finish very late in the day. That's going to serve a double purpose, just to make sure I get my steps in during the winter. But I also, my idea of functional right now is to improve my heart rate and my heart rate variability. So I am going to start doing some zone 2 training. And if because we haven't got access to a completely flat track, and when you're doing heart rate variability training or zone 2 training, a flat track is probably the best and easiest way to do that, because if you're doing trail running or something like that, all the variations in gradients make it way harder to regulate your heart rate. So for me, my function is getting a better level 2 zone 2 heart rate.
Nice.
Yeah, so that is where I'm going. But let's move on to a little bit of Geek Corner, shall we? So I think we've covered something similar before, but my question to you, and I put this in a Facebook group, and I'm going to give a shout out to the Facebook group, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gaming much at all at the moment. That being said, I did have a good session on Resident Evil 2 remake the other day, but I'm going to give a shout out to the Facebook group Gamers Over 30 because although I'm not gaming at the moment, when I'm having like a scroll on Facebook, these posts come out, and I'm always excited to engage in them because it's all gamers over 30, as people like myself and yourself now haven't recently turned 30. So I put this question into this group as well, and it was quite entertaining, some of the answers. But the question was, if you could train to attain the physical attributes of any game protagonist, what would it be? So
that's a hard question.
It is a hard question. So I'm going to go over some of these while you think about an answer as well. So I'll start off. And again, I've spoken to you and I've spoken on the podcast about this as well. But I said, if I'm keeping it grounded, then it'll probably be Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell, just because when you come around to the last game, he's like in his late 50s and still athletic as hell. So that's really fucking cool. I like that. But if I'm going all out and I want the physical capabilities of a character, I probably didn't give this enough thought. There's probably better answers, but Geralt from The Witcher, A, he's stacked, and B, he can fight like an awesome person. Or my favorite character from Tekken. I don't know if we've ever spoken about this. Have you ever played Tekken before?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, who do you reckon my favorite character would be? Who I'd like to emulate on the physical side of things?
Oh, it's not the old boy with the, what's he called, with the spike, with the old grey hair, and he gets everybody in a headlock. What's he called?
No, that's one of the main dudes of the family. I can't remember. There's probably like gamers screaming at their earpods right now.
Yeah.
No, so a close second for me would be Brian Fury, who had like the devastating zoom in punch. But Horong, I think that's how you pronounce it, Horong. And here's the dude who was either in a gi or like really camp looking biker gear, unfortunately. But he like could switch stances to different sides and do all the mental crazy kicks and like all the like keep his leg up in the air and do multiple kicks to the face and stuff like that. He was by far my favorite character to play with back in the day with Tekken 3. I must admit I haven't played many Tekken games since. But going off some other answers, there was a couple that were saying Wolverine in Marvel vs. Capcom. I don't know if that's a bit of a cop-out answer because that is probably more comic book, but I did say any protagonist in any game, so I'll let it go. Another one along a similar vein, Spider-Man, and the reason is just traveling the city. He said, I'm not sure how you can train about that, so Tony Hawk's is the next shout. And this guy said he's a 38-year-old getting back into skating and no injury yet. So he's kind of already emulating that training pattern of the protagonist that he was looking at when it comes to Tony Hawk's, which I thought was awesome. This is another one that I thought, actually, no, this is really cool. And it goes along the Sam Fisher lines for me. And that's Ezio Auditore da Firenze from Assassin's Creed 2 all the way through to Brotherhood as well.
Oh, yeah.
And, any of the Assassin's Creed protagonists, they're going to be awesome, I think. Got Agent 47 on here as well. And to be fair, that could be achievable through training. I don't quite know whether he means he just wants to be able to kill people or wants to have the physical attributes of it. So, Facebook can be a scary place sometimes. We'll hopefully we'll find out what that was about. But another popular one from very popular games recently is it Kratos or Kratos? I don't know how you say it, but from the God of War games.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been saying that. So I basically replied, you have to have the manliest voice in the world to go with it as well, because he is just as well renowned for his voice as he is for his physique. So, yeah, there's a few, to be fair, that I don't know on here that other people have chosen. But another one that is close to my heart is Solid Snake. But for the humor factor, I want triangle boobs like the original Lara Croft had. Why not? So on the Facebook group I went pixel titties. It's all good.
Yeah, no, that's good. That is
So
good.
yeah, where would you like to be? And you can go either way with this. Like you can keep it grounded, like my Sam Fisher, or you can go crazy, like if it was like someone who was a bit more unrealistic, but something. It's still got to be something that needs training for. For example, we know, like for example, Wolverine, he still trains. They train in the rec room all the time. Whereas Superman, you never really see him training, so that kind of thing wouldn't count. So it would be they have to train to keep their kind of powers in check.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you mean. Oh, that's really hard. If it requires training, that is hard. I mean, I was thinking Kratos as well from God of War because he's absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's the any of the characters from Dante from Devil May Cry.
Oh, do you know what? I never
It's
played that
cool
game.
if you've ever played.
Mm.
Yeah, so they're pretty fucking nuts. They're pretty strong and also, but also great with multiple weapons. So that'd be a cool character to be from Devil May Cry, definitely. Also, just like even though that character's not got a name, the main character from Skyrim.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's
Mm.
yeah, with magic included, that works.
Yeah, but in terms of keeping it kind of level, I guess keeping it more grounded, I would go more down the Assassin's Creed route. I
Mhm.
think I'd go more down that route of being sneaky, jumpy, that kind of thing. I find that more interesting. Or like, God, I haven't played this game in ages. Prince of Persia.
Oh man, I have only ever played one, and I think that was the third one where you become like the demon version with like the chain whip
That's
thing as well.
Twin Souls. I think
Is that it?
that was number two. I think.
Was that number two?
Is it
Yeah,
Twin Souls?
I remember
Yeah, I used to play
playing
that.
that one, and that was cool because that was that parkour kind of version. Ubisoft are
Yeah, yeah.
re-release are doing a new version of that, and it's like it's gone
Oh wow.
cartoony and gone back to like a side scroller kind of
Mm,
thing, which isn't my cup of tea really. But I expect some people will enjoy that. But
mm.
yeah, that's a really good shout. That was almost like a precursor to Assassin's Creed in a way, wasn't it? 'Cause it was made by the same people, so
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
Uh,
Prince of Persia, Two Souls. That was the game.
yeah,
Oh,
I
Two
remember that one.
Thrones. Two
Two
Thrones.
Thrones. I think I've still got the box
Mm,
for that lying around
mm,
somewhere in one of my old boxes of games. I have got
mm.
another answer here from the Facebook page, and it's basically any answer that isn't Steve in Minecraft is just wrong. He can carry 62,208 cubic meters of gold. So, the fact he's done that measurement is good. That is 1.2 million metric tons, apparently. I just love the fact he's done the math on that.
Oh
So fair
wow.
play to you for answering that one.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's fair.
yeah. So the other one that's I don't know if have you ever watched? There's a YouTube channel where they they get two characters from games and then they calculate what all their strengths and weaknesses are and then do a little animation of the two characters fighting
That's cool.
and
No, I
they
haven't.
kind of work out. Yeah, so the one that always blows my mind as that is actually the strongest being in the universe in out of all gaming is Kirby.
I've heard about this before. I've never looked into it, but I've heard
Yeah.
this theory. Why is this? Do you know why?
So thanks to his abilities, he has infinite power apparently, but he has the ability to destroy planets. Um, he it's crazy. It's something to do with like within inside himself, he has like an infinite galaxy or something, and he can consume anything and has the ability to like. There's a cartoon in which Kirby could enter different dimension and destroy planets. So yeah, essentially, Kirby is like the strongest there is known to man in what it can do.
Okay.
Yeah, he can essentially become a black hole. He can. There's ability to inhale infinitely, which and he can inhale almost anything. While in Hypernova, introducing Kirby Triple Deluxe, he can essentially become a black hole. So, yeah, he is basically the most powerful being known to man. This little pink blob, and he's a baby.
I mean, that's kind of insane. So, again, being a bit of a nerd, I'm a member of a few gaming groups and stuff like that. But I remember when the new Kirby came out, it was before Zelda was like released, or we had a time date for it, and everyone started kicking off saying, "Come on, I don't care about Kirby, I want Zelda news." But there was a bunch of Kirby nerds kicking off as well, saying the lore behind Kirby is surprisingly deep. And I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, I had no idea it was at all. So I just thought it was like Pac-Man.
So I have just another thing here. It says, in Kirby Star Allies, Kirby can hit a meteor through planets with a baseball bat, launching it 9,999 light years away. And that's just because it was stopped at that point.
Okay. Kirby for the win then, basically. Is he in Smash Brothers? Because if he is, I'm guessing most people play as Kirby. Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah. He can breeze past the speed of light. Yeah, okay.
I don't know how we would train for that, but that is Kirby. You have newfound respect, to be completely honest. So again, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Gamers Over 30 group, because they all stepped up when I asked that question in the group. I thought it was quite an interesting one. But yeah, let's move on to a little bit of fit talk. And today, my fit talk is, what is the scariest physical feat you could imagine taking on? And when I say this is in realistic terms, not like jumping into an active volcano or something like that, although some people have done that. But what is something that you have seen people do on YouTube or documentaries or anything like that would absolutely scare the living shit out of you?
I think I've got like 2, maybe 3 here that I think pretty mental. The first one, which is I think what a lot of people will pick, and that's the Marathon des Sables.
What's that? Go into that.
Which is the Marathon des Sables is, if you don't know what that is, I'm just gonna get up specifically what it is. The Marathon des Sables is a race in the Sahara Desert, but it's a few days. The distance is about 250 kilometers, and you run it in a certain amount of days. You have to, essentially, you've got to get to checkpoint each day. You got to hit a specific checkpoint at a specific time each day, and you kind of left to navigate your way through. And there's a documentary on Netflix called Human Playground, and it follows a lady who's doing that, and she's only got one leg, and she's doing that race. And essentially, there's a guy walking with some camels, and if the camels at any point pass you, or if you don't make it to the checkpoint in time, you get kicked out of the race. And I can't remember, there's some figures of how many people die during the thingy, but it's a pretty brutal race. It's absolutely brutal, but it's in the Sahara Desert. It's hot as fuck. You can only take so much with you, because you can't run with too much. But it's 250 kilometers race in the Sahara Desert. It's absolutely brutal.
So, to be fair, I should have known this, because one of my ex-clients from a few years ago tried this 3 months ago or 2 months ago. She made it to, I don't know what day it was, but she made it to one of the checkpoints. But then her body just gave out. She made it to the checkpoints, and then she woke up the next day, and she realized she couldn't go on. And she is a tough cookie as well. She really is a tough cookie. So it is, like, that is something like that is a cut above the rest for like just to take it on, no matter how far you get, is just insane. But yeah, for people who complete that, Jesus Christ, that is mental, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely mental. And yeah, you got to do it in a certain amount of time, like I said. So I think it's like 3 or 4 days you have to do it. and yeah, it's absolutely nuts. So yeah, the distance is about 250. It's divided into 5 stages. About 250 kilometers divided into 5 stages. Stage 1 is 28 to 35 kilometers. Stage 2, 28 to 39 kilometers. Stage 3, 28 to 39 kilometers. Stage 4, which stage 4 lasts 2 days, which is 75 to 85 kilometers, and stage 5 is 42.195 kilometers.
Jesus Christ.
Absolutely mental. And you have to be self-sufficient with your food and water, so you have to do that all yourself. They don't help you, so it's mental.
Well, yeah, that is scary as fuck. So mine is not quite as drawn out as that, but for me it's fucking scary. I don't have a problem with heights, but the idea of free soloing El Capitan scares the living shit out of me. So for those who don't know what El Capitan is, just Google it. It is a mountain in, oh crap, I can't remember the national park it's in now.
Yosemite.
Yeah, that's it. Yosemite National Park, and it is basically a sheer face that is. Let me have a quick Google, see how tall it is. But Alex Honnold is the famous person that has done that, and it's just insane because the thing is, once you start, it's actually easier to climb up than it is to climb down. So once you start and get past a certain height, you're pretty much only allowed to go up. So it's over 2 kilometers, over 2.25 kilometers tall, which is mental. You think about the Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world. It is over twice as tall as that. And he climbed this in. So Alex Honnold, let me see what's Alex Honnold El Capitan time. He climbed this in 3 hours and 56 minutes. The usual time, I believe.
Was that when he free soloed it?
Yeah, that's when he free soloed it. El Capitan time to climb.
Yeah,
for the average person. For the average time, I think climbers typically take around 4 to 6 days to reach the top.
Wow.
Yeah, and he done it in 4 hours, which is it's just mental. Like, the reason that scares me so much is because I'm not scared of heights. I would entertain, as long as I had a support crew with me, I would entertain the idea of climbing that with ropes or like abseiling down it if I was roped in, for example. But the idea of free soloing it with absolutely zero fucking aid at all is making my toes curl up in my shoes right now, because it's just, Jesus Christ, that is mental. Just looking down, knowing that you've just got to carry on going up. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's mental.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy, that movie as well. I remember watching it and I was sweating whilst watching it. It's such a good movie, but it's mental. Another thing that would scare me actually is swimming the channel. So I don't mind sea swimming, but sea swimming when it's proper deep sea is frightening. And so swimming something like the channel, which I think you're not allowed, you have to do it. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to wetsuit up. I think you have to do it in like goose fatted up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because there's a lot of regulation for it with the channel.
So funny enough, if I had to pick a second, it would be water related probably. Open water swimming, yeah, that's going to be bad enough. I was thinking like the just diving in general, like especially when you go into those real deep depths as well, and just like the pressure and shit like that. That's a little bit worrying. When we were in Fuerteventura, because it's a volcanic island, we were snorkeling just off of like a little beach where no one else was. But because it's all just formed by volcanic activity, we got like 5 meters away from where the beach was, and it just dropped into black depths. Like, you couldn't see it. You couldn't see the bottom of it. It was just it was vertical. So it was like, oh yeah, this is fun. Go like 3 meters away, and it was just sheer to blackness. You couldn't see anything. And it was clear water as well, man. That was interesting to see.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, that's not good. Okay, I think it is time to get the lab coats on. So today's study, it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, not to be taken seriously. And for anyone who hasn't listened to episode 15, I definitely recommend listening to episode 15. I will get into why in a minute, especially the study time on episode 15. So the title of the study is Scientists Build a Healthy Dietary Pattern Using Ultra-Processed Foods. So, okay, that's fair enough. That's cool. You know, why can't you have... if you've listened to this for any amount of time, you know that me and Josh have our massive reservations about ultra-processed foods. So the summary here is scientists demonstrate it is possible to build a healthy diet with 91% of the calories coming from ultra-processed foods, as classified using the Nova scale, while still... I'm not going to say that bit yet. The study highlights the versatility of using recommendations in constructing healthy menus. I'm not going to say what recommendations yet. So I'll go for the overview here. Scientists at the USDA Agricultural Research Services Grand Forks Human Nutrition Research Center led a study that demonstrates it is possible to build a healthy diet with 91% of calories coming from ultra-processed foods. The study highlights versatility of using recommendations in constructing healthy menus. The study is a proof of concept that shows a more balanced view of healthy eating patterns, where using ultra-processed foods can be an option, says the research nutritionist Judy Hess. According to our current dietary recommendations, the nutrient content of a food and its place in the food group are more important than the extent of which a food was processed. In the study, scientists used the Nova scale to determine which foods to classify as ultra-processed. The Nova scale first appeared in literature in 2009 and the most commonly used scale in nutrition science to classify foods by degree of processing. According to the Nova scale, foods can be classified into 4 groups depending on their degree of processing. 1 is unprocessed or minimally processed foods. 2 is processed culinary ingredients. 3 is processed foods, and 4 is ultra-processed foods. So I guess one way you could look at this is unprocessed or minimally processed foods. That would be like a jacket potato. If you're looking at a processed culinary ingredient, I guess it's not necessarily ingredient, but I guess you could say grated potato to make a mash out of. I guess that could be a culinary ingredient. That probably isn't completely accurate, but you get where I'm going. A processed food would be a chip or a crisp. An ultra processed food would be something that is taken apart and reconstituted, like a Pringle or Discos or something like that, because that isn't carved from a potato, that's taken apart and done it. So that's using a potato in that reference. Now, my problem with this, and we're not going to spend too much time here again, because this is a bit tongue-in-cheek, the reason I brought this up. It's the reference material they're using is a reference that we have brought up back in episode 15, and it was the dietary guidelines for Americans, which is 2020 to 2025, and that is the most disgusting piece of fucking advice I have ever seen in terms of nutrition related stuff, because it is just inherently bad advice, which is so clearly influenced by whoever lobbies the most money when it comes to American politics. And I remember saying back in the day then, when we recorded that episode that long ago, like, that makes you sound tinfoil hat, but if you look into where so much of the money that comes into funding this research and then in turn funding people's campaigns in politics, this shit really does start to make sense a little bit. And the 2020 to 2025 dietary guidelines for Americans is absolutely ridiculous. And it's going by those guidelines that it's saying that they're saying that highly processed foods can fit into this. I can't remember what it was. There was something on those guidelines that was saying what was it? There was something really bad and highly processed that it was saying was way more healthy than an avocado just because of the amount of fat that an avocado has. And it's just fucking
Yeah.
insane. Like, this sort of stuff is so dangerous in the fact that it's giving out very authoritative advice that leads to unhealthy habits.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Is giving the people an excuse to eat ultra processed foods. And what I don't think, like, yes, it probably is possible to create a healthy dietary pattern out of ultra processed foods. If it's all about calories and making sure you're not eating over your calories, then yeah, it is possible for me to hit my daily calories and probably hit my protein count and whatever just eating McDonald's, right? Yeah, that's fine. I can probably do that in theory. However, when you put that into action, it's going to be very hard for me to hit my daily calories in McDonald's and then not hit my daily calories in McDonald's again instantly afterwards because I'm still starving and I'm still craving ultra processed foods. It's not, sometimes it's about what that food does to your mental capacity to deal with hunger and all this sort of stuff. So that's why we're always saying eat more vegetables, eat more fiber, eat more of this, because not only does your body feel better, but mentally you're not going to want to eat more because it fills you up. It does it increases, it improves your satiety. It does all of these things. So yeah, try and eat a diet of just ultra processed foods. You're not going to be able to keep up with that because you're just going to be craving ultra processed foods all the time.
I mean, you will be able to keep up with it, and unfortunately, most of the population does, but they're fucking obese. So that is which plays straight into your point, Josh. Yeah, and what you said then is really, really important because it's not just sure you could hit your calories, you could probably hit your macros. You know, you've heard us talk about if it fits your macros before, and there are massive drawbacks of that. I.e., people find ways to fit Pop-Tarts into their diets, but in the meantime, they could be eating like veggies to get their carbs in instead, which is going to have a much denser nutrient profile. And look, I'm not saying there's no way to eat healthily on ultra processed foods. I guess some could be constituted as it if you're looking at like chicken breast that is just reshaped and reformed, but why not just eat fucking chicken breast? There's a reason that ultra processed foods are usually cheaper. That is because they're bulked out with other shit as well, which are less expensive ingredients. So all I really want to point out is, guys, just try to be aware of what you're putting in your body. And again, if you're following and if it fits your macros kind of style of eating, I just recommend trying to get some nutrient quality in there as well, because that'll really help out.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about your relationship with food and how you're perceiving these things. It's where everybody's always trying to find a way to cheat and shove these things into our diet when, because we're perceiving them as treats, or we're perceiving them as stuff that makes us feel good in the moment. You know, I've had a rough day, I'm going to go eat some McDonald's because it makes me feel better, whatever it is. And that's where the problem really lies. It's more about changing our perception. Actually, if I just eat healthily regularly all the time, I'm going to feel way better than when I do feel instantly after eating a McDonald's and then crashing, you know? So it's trying to understand that it's not just about being healthy, but it's about what being healthy makes us feel. And that's feeling good all the time.
Yeah. I was interested about the source of this actually, because it came from the US Department of Agriculture. So I guess, to be honest, that their biggest the biggest like market for the US Department of Agriculture is probably something like McDonald's. If I'm completely fair, like burger joints is probably one of their biggest customers, so that would kind of make sense. But yeah, I'd that would require me looking into it a bit more. But even so, just try to. So some of the ultra-processed foods used in this menu included canned beans, instant oatmeal, ultra-filtered milk, whole wheat bread, and dried fruit. Fuck off. I'm gonna. So before I go too far into that, let's move on, shall we? We're gonna move on to the hot topic because
Yeah.
I think we've spoken enough about this sort of thing, and just go listen to previous episodes on nutrition. Or message us if you want to find out more. But my hot topic for today is how to stay consistent, especially in relation to exercise. But most of these can be applied to pretty much anything in life as well. So the results are simple. Basically, I want to get you to stay consistent in your pursuits. The drivers for me doing that is it's the biggest key to success is staying consistent. And the actions is I'm going to give you some practical ways to keep consistent. And Josh, as always, I've written a bunch of stuff down on here. If you want to interrupt at any point, just feel free. So the first thing I'm going to do is a little bit of self-promotion here, and that is know your RDA. So you've heard us talk about the RDA system before. If you haven't, then definitely go back and listen to those episodes, which I can't remember what they were. I think they were in the 20s. But RDA stands for the results, the drivers, and the actions. So results is another word for goals. Okay. One of the ways to stay consistent is know your goals. And that's probably the first reason you'll start, by the way. You'll probably think to yourself, oh, I want to lose some weight. Oh, I want to get a six pack. Oh, I want to have bigger shoulders or whatever your goals are. That's probably going to be the thing that first kicks off your journey. But you're also going to have to understand what it takes to get to those results. So once you know your results, you're also going to want to know your drivers. And this is probably the most important aspect to really nail down, because you're going to want to come back to this time and time again. And you want to make sure it's something you can revisit to propel you to the results you're after. So what I mean by that is, if you're after a six pack, work out why you're after that six pack. Like, what is compelling you to have that six pack? Because it's not just the idea of having a six pack, as good as that might motivate you. It's how having that six pack will make you feel. Will it help you feel healthier, more accomplished, or socially accepted, or feel good on the beach? Understand why you are feeling like that goal is going to elevate your life. And I guess something we don't talk about very often, but it's good to know, is it a healthy driver? Like, is that a healthy reason to have that goal? And that is going to be an important one as well. Working out what your drivers are driven by can be a key to success in a lot of areas as well. For example, some people are driven by comparing themselves to other people. Like, it's that idea of proving they're better than someone else. And look, there's pros and cons to that. It's not always unhealthy to want to do that. Look at any sport or competition like that. It can sometimes be a bonus. Sometimes people are more motivated by themselves. They want to be better than they were, than the person they were yesterday. So take your time to work out which one of those drives you more. If it's internally driven, an argument could be made that is kind of better for you. But by all means, if you're externally driven by other people, then lean into that if you need to. That's absolutely fine. Just remind yourself that whatever you're lifting, there's a 15-year-old girl in China lifting heavier than you. So as a warm-up, that's, if that's going to be enough to drive you, then do it. And the last of the RDA is actions. To be consistent, you need to fucking start, okay? Take action and create momentum, because if you are always putting off starting, then you are never going to create the momentum to be consistent in the first place. So action is very, very key. Josh, I don't know if you've got any thoughts on the RDA bit, which is the first part of that.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing. It's a lot of people, we see it. I mean, we see it all the time with people saying they've come to the gym, oh, I need to lose weight. That's the most common one. People come to the gym, they'll be training for a bit, and then they'll just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just pull that out of their ass and go, oh yeah, I really need to lose weight. And they're like, they don't need to lose weight. And we go, why do you need to lose weight? And just, oh, it's healthier. It's a lot of people create these results because they think that that's the result they need, but they haven't really figured it out, and they haven't really thought about it. So sometimes if you're struggling to figure out the result you want and the why behind that result, then it's really good to talk to somebody about it, especially somebody who has some kind of prior knowledge, so a coach or just somebody who has any knowledge about goal setting or anything along those lines, because it can be very easy to just make up a goal because you think that that's the right kind of goal, but really it doesn't really mean anything. So it's making sure you are understanding what that's all about.
Yeah, and I've heard in recent years there's like a lot of what's the most tactical way to put this? I've heard a lot of talk about the pressures of society being too much, and you don't have to look like this, you don't have to look like that. No, you really don't have to look like that. It's your choice, but not all pressures are rooted in something just because it's socially acceptable. A lot of these pressures are rooted in something because it's also fucking better for you. So just because don't do it because there's expectations from society. Do it because of health reasons, but understand why those things are valued so highly by so many. Again, I'm not saying that's the right
Yep.
outlook to have, but there is a reason why it is valued. And to be honest, if it's going to make you healthier, who gives a shit about what other people think about it? Just don't don't cut off your nose to spite your face by thinking you're fighting the establishment by staying fat and unhealthy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So my second point here is prioritize it in your schedule, guys. If you haven't already got a schedule, then make one and insert your health and fitness into it, because if you haven't done that already, you're you're always going to be looking for the time to fit it in as opposed to knowing when you're going to fit it in. One of the rules I'm living by, and it helps me out loads, is I work out at my first available opportunity. And look, that's going to be different for everybody. For some, it might be 5 o'clock in the morning. For others, it might be 8 o'clock in the evening. But wherever you can, find your first opportunity a day to work out, get it done. And, I'm not saying it has to be done every day. If you're working out 3 times a week, then the first possible opportunity you have in those 3 times. I am a big advocate for getting stuff done early. The sooner you can do it, then the less excuses you have to bail out. If someone right now in my life currently, if someone told me I have to work out at 8 o'clock in the evening, I would fucking struggle. That would be very, very hard
Mm.
work for me. So I'm luckily we get a little bit of time in between clients. Sometimes I can throw in a workout. But if I didn't, I would be in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's what I used to do when
Yeah.
I was working all the way through the door, all the way through the day, because I know I'm going to, first of all, working out that time in a day is going to set me up for the day. I'm going to feel great. But secondly, if I try to make it to 8 p.m. when I'm getting home, then I know I'm not going to be able to work out at that time. It's just, I'm going to make up too many excuses. I'm still going to need to eat. I need to go to bed at 9:30. It's just not going to fucking work. So, whatever does work for you, make sure you can get it in as early as possible.
Yeah, the favorite thing I like to say to clients is you wouldn't just sack off work. You
Hmm.
wouldn't just go, no, I just don't feel like going to work today. It's not something you would do. Work's a non-negotiable, isn't it? Or if you have children, feeding your kids is a non-negotiable. Training, there's no reason why training shouldn't be the same. Like, there's no reason why looking after your body and prioritizing your health isn't the same. That should also be a non-negotiable. You should
Hmm.
lock those times in a week and go, this is it. I am doing this outside of an emergency or being sick. I training's in and it's locked in these times, these days, whatever it is, and it's non-negotiable. Tough shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's right. Like at the end of the day, you're working hard for your money. You've got to work hard for your health as well, because at the end of the day, there's going to come a point in your life
Mm.
where you value your health more than money, and you've got to understand that. Like the more you can start investing in that now, same as money. The sooner you can start investing in your health is the same as the sooner you can start investing in your money. You're going to reap better rewards. So just keep that in mind. So the next point I have on here is have a plan. Make sure you know what you're going to be doing so you don't spend the first 15 minutes farting around and not getting any value out of the session. But The caveat to this, one of my favorite things to say is it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, perfection can be the enemy of progress. Start somewhere. This goes back to taking action. Start somewhere, and then you can refine as you go on, but make sure you have some idea of a plan of what you're going to do, whether that is what muscle groups you're going to hit or exactly what moves you're going to do, how many reps and sets. Try to get it as nailed in as possible so you can show up, get it done, and then feel good for it after.
Also, there's not really an excuse for not having a plan anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the same as having a tailored coach's like written plan. That's completely different. But if you can't think of a plan for yourself and you don't really know what to do, I could literally go right now. Give me a goal, Jack. Give me any goal.
So I'll give you a goal of, let's say, grow your arms. There you go.
Okay, so if I type into Google arm training plan PDF, boom, got one instantly. So you could get free. It's so simple. And it's not for you. It's not personalized. It's not like this. But if your excuse is, oh, I haven't got a plan, I don't know what to do, I can just type something into Google right now and get a plan for anything. Yeah, it might not be the best plan, like you said, it might not be perfect, but at least it's getting you in the gym and getting you started, and then you can get going. So there's not really an excuse for not having the knowledge to do it, because we've got the internet is full of shit you can download for free. There's loads.
I just put it in YouTube, man, and there's loads of shit that's come up as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're completely right, Josh. And the thing is with this is one of the most exciting things about going on your own fitness journey is when you make breakthroughs from yourself. So just having a template to use and then understanding the adaptations you can make to it to improve your workout, that's so much fun. Just understanding those things about your own body, it just makes it way more fun. It's like if someone says, oh, this worked for me, you can say, oh, that's really cool. This worked for me. And then you can have a discussion around that sort of shit as well. But what is true for one person might not be true for everyone. But having a base template can get you surprisingly far. So just fucking use it. And the other thing I will say around this, and full disclosure here, this is a method that we use as well in our marketing. A lot of people give shit away for free because they want to pull you into their ecosystem of marketing. We do the same. Millions of other coaches do the same. We give shit away for free that, to be honest, could probably see you through to the rest of your life. We just give you as much value as we can in the other areas, because giving value is good business at the end of the day. So take advantage of that, guys. If you haven't got any money, just go find a coach who's giving shit away for free, collate as much information as possible, and you're going to be on a winner.
Yeah, dude, don't give all the secrets away, man.
Yeah, I know. I just, let's tell them. Let's tell them. It's good. I want to get people. I want to get people jacked. So moving on to the next point, though, and this is really, really important. It's something that I probably don't do enough, especially in my everyday life. This is definitely relevant for a lot of things, but look for and celebrate the small wins. And I've included a few examples here. The first one I've got is time focused. So this is consistency locked into a T. So how long, if you've done something for like a week, if you've done something for a month, if you've done something for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, celebrate those small milestones, because each one of those milestones represents consistency. Okay, you don't have to wait until the 12 weeks, the 6 months, or the year is up. You can celebrate it week by week to say, fuck yeah, I've just achieved another week. That doesn't mean you can go out and smash like a shit ton of calories if your goal is like to get lean, but it just means like you can give yourself a pat on the back, say fucking well done, like you have done this, you have owned it, you have taken control of your life for a week. That's really good. So celebrate those time focused milestones. And the next one is similar, but it's more habit focused as well. Sorry, Josh, do you want to add anything to the time focused?
No. That was good. I like that.
Cool. The next one is habit focused. And again, this is all about consistency. So the repetition of good practices. For our online clients, through our app that we use, through the RDA app, we assign people habits based on whatever they need at the time, and this will give you like a streak of like completed habits. And this is basically another form of consistency, and it's repetition of good practices, because that repetition of good practices is another version of consistency, and it is the best way to get results, because you're proving to yourself that you can complete these habits, and you are giving back to yourself, because essentially that's what health and fitness is.
Yeah, definitely.
Then another one you can celebrate is performance focused. Like, if you're running, have you beaten a time? Or if you're doing circuits, have you beaten your time? If you're lifting weight, have you beaten your previous record by lifting more? Have you performed more reps? Or is it like a quality of movement thing? Have you noticed that you're moving way more freely and that you feel more balanced side to side? Performance focused is a really good way to celebrate. I mean, especially when you start getting stronger and stronger, you'll struggle to find a person in a gym who won't be excited when they get a personal best on a certain lift that they've been trying to do for ages. So that's really, really good. We see a lot of that in our jobs, and it's some of the most fulfilling moments you can have, especially like for people who weren't too fussed about strength, but they recognize that it is still a milestone, and they're fucking pumped to be able to get it out.
Also, this that's the performance one's really important. There's a lot of people that feel like then the weight needs to go up. This is a big one I try and make more clients realize, is that they think that the weight needs to go up every week, and it doesn't. Especially if you're working in top ranges, like close to strength ranges. So for instance, if you do, say you're doing 5 reps of something and it's at like a high percentage, you say you're working at 85%, whatever. That's it might be too high, but it's a high percentage. And then the next week you do that 5 again, but it felt easier. What that might mean is that it's not 85% anymore. It may be 83%, but it's still working in such a high range that you're still benefiting from those strength gains. The other side is a lot of people only focus on weight and they don't focus on reps. And for instance, if you've done 10 reps of something 1 week and then you're trying up the weight and you can't do it, but if you did 12 reps instead of 10 reps, then that is progress within itself. One thing that I don't follow much of James Smith, the PT, but he had a good point in that a lot of people, if they're stuck on 5 kg dumbbells and they try to move to 7.5 kg, that's actually a 50% increase in weight. And that's a humongous increase. We very rarely increase. Like if you're deadlifting 200 kilos, the next week you're not going to go to 200, go to 300 kilos, are you? That's fucking stupid. So instead of increasing the weight every session, increasing the reps and improving on those reps is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It actually happened to me, was it this morning or yesterday morning? I can't remember. Somebody was benching and they were like, I think they got 45 kilos for the first time. And they were like, but they've just come from 40 kilos. And they were like, oh, yeah, but it's only 45 kilos, though, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, but that's more than 10% increase from where you were last week. That's fucking good. Like, that's really good. Josh, on a complete tangent, what did you just have in your hand a second ago?
Oh, sorry. I'm a fiddler.
Wait, I'm just really curious as to what you've got in your hand right now. What is it?
It's a screw.
Do you want to know something really weird?
What? Oh, for God's sake.
So for the listeners, it turns out that me and Josh have both just been like playing with screws in our fingers right now, completely randomly. That was a bit strange, but yeah. Yeah, how weird. But yeah, no, you're completely right, Josh. Like that, sometimes and the other thing about this as well, about the more reps, is that if you add up the volume, usually 2 extra reps will be more volume than trying to raise the weight, because when you raise the weight, you actually get a little bit less reps. And if you can pump out 2 more reps on the same weight you were using last week, that actually totals to more volume lifted at the end of the session more often than not. There can be exceptions to that, but usually that's how it works. The last one of celebrate the small wins is aesthetic focused as well. Like, if you're after fat loss, celebrate every pound lost. Celebrate every little bit of muscle you can see, like every tightness. If you're a guy wearing a t-shirt and you feel a little bit of tightness around the sleeves, celebrate that shit. Like, feel good for it. And symmetry is another one that goes so overlooked. But if you can, this isn't just about looking in the mirror and looking symmetrical. It's also about moving symmetrical as well. If you just feel more balanced and more solid in the way you move and your posture and stuff like that, that's something to celebrate too, because that is such a healthy way to approach things when like symmetry when it comes to aesthetic goals. But again, all of those, anything that you can look at yourself and see a change, celebrate that if it's a positive change. So moving on to the next point, this one's important, and it goes back to the perfection side of things as well, and that is, be flexible with your workouts and your approach and your scheduling, but that doesn't mean be non-committal. Okay, so you still got to be committed to those results and the drivers that you thought about, that we mentioned right at the beginning. Be flexible around them, though. Be flexible about the approach. There is usually more than one way to skin a cat, as the saying goes. And if, let's say, you're going for a workout program. Let's say you've Googled, found a 5-week workout program, and then 3 weeks in, you've got to go traveling for work or something like that. Just do what you can in your hotel room, or find a gym nearby to do something with. It doesn't have to be dogmatically on that plan for the whole 5 weeks, but try to stick to some sort of plan so you can keep the momentum going and keep consistent. But just understand that just because you can't do something the exact way it's written down doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything at all.
Definitely, yeah. It's the ability to adapt is super important. 100% is something you need to be able to do, because life happens and sometimes things get in the way. But quite a lot of times, what we see when something gets in the way, that's when people stop, and then when people stop, they struggle to get back on the wagon. So making sure you have something in place, or it might even be a good idea to just have a few plans ready that are like no gym plans, where you can just do at home in a room anywhere, so that you're ready to just get started, if ready to throw that in if something comes up and stops you from being able to train at the gym or train wherever.
I'm just trying to find out now where there it was. What episode was that? Oh, was that just gone? I just lost it now. We've done an episode basically on obstacles. It was episode 2. So, saying goodbye to your obstacles and excuses. Obstacles and excuses, they're some of the things that we mean when we're saying you need to be flexible to get around your obstacles. Listen to episode 2 if you have obstacles that you struggle to get around, and that will put you in a favorable position. I tell you what, Josh, we've been going for a few months now. We might need to revisit some of these hot topics that we've done in the past, just so we can add updates to them, because there's a lot of stuff we've given.
There's also episode 9. We go over if you need a gym to get in shape and how to get in shape without a gym. So there's that there as well. So we got all of the resources.
We haven't we done one on training around injuries as well? That's another one.
We have. We've got a rehab one as well. Yeah. That is episode 40.
Perfect. So yeah, guys, we've provided you with all the shit already. Just go and fucking listen to it, and then if you have excuses, instead of focusing on your excuses, focus on the solutions instead. Try to work a way around them, and then again, that's just going to make you feel better for being an action taker, because when you take action, it self-certifies that you're a badass. So that's what you want to aim for. My last point, guys, is if you're someone that struggles with doing all this alone, have someone to keep you accountable. That can be a coach like us, or it can be a in-person personal trainer. It can be a class that you go to, or it can be a workout buddy that you go to the gym with. Find someone to help keep you accountable, and you're way more likely to stay consistent and get shit done, and keep them consistent as well. And then you can get a nice little thing going where you feel good about keeping each other going.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Accountability is key, man. Is definitely something everybody needs. That's why a coach is so good, because a coach will stay on top of what it is you're doing,
Mhm.
making sure you're doing good, making sure you're putting the work in.
Yeah, definitely. So, guys, I'm just going to run through these again, just so you know what we mean when we're saying how to stay consistent. Number one, Josh is furiously Googling a joke now for after this, I can tell. Number one is know your RDA, and that is your results, your drivers, and your momentum. So know your goal, why you want that goal, and the actions needed to hit that goal. Point two is prioritize whatever you're trying to achieve in your schedule, so you know exactly when you're going to be doing it, and try to stick to that as much as you can. The next point is have a plan. It doesn't have to be perfect, but make sure it is something you can stick to. One thing I didn't cover actually is make sure it fits into your life and that you don't have to sacrifice too much to try and put it off. Otherwise, it's already doomed from the start. So make sure it fits into your life. Okay. The next point is look for and celebrate the small wins, whether that is like milestones in terms of time, whether that is repetition of good practices like habits, whether that is performance focused like time, weight lifted, reps performed, or quality of movement, or whether it's aesthetic focused like muscle muscle gain, fat loss, or body symmetry. Second to last point is be flexible, but not to the point of being non-committal. So you can change things up and make sure you've got a backup and you know exactly what you're doing instead. And finally, have someone to keep you accountable if you need it.
Yeah, and guys, if you're struggling with accountability and keeping consistent, then we do come and join our Facebook group. Our Facebook group is all about keeping people accountable. We have a thread on there specifically for that, where you can put your goals and be kept accountable and be kept on it. So join our Facebook group and get involved in that, and join a community of people trying to improve themselves.
Yeah. And guys, we also do the one-to-one work with RDA Strength Systems Coaching as well. And that is the ultimate accountability, because you get everything we've just talked about. You pretty much get that taken care of via us, our personal coaching, and in the app as well. So have a look into that, guys. Josh, go on. Are you going to make me laugh?
Well, don't need to. You just need to look in the mirror. So
harsh, man.
Sorry, that was one of those moments where your mouth speaks before your brain connects.
You let it out, mate. You let it out. That's fine.
So, what does a receptionist at a sperm bank say as clients leave?
Come again?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Very good. Very. I prefer mine to be there, but yeah.
Yeah, yours is good. Yours is good.
Very good. Very good. Josh, where can these wonderful people find us?
They can find us on Instagram and TikTok at RDA Strength System. Same on Facebook. We are also on I'm just going to double check that. The RDA Strength System on Facebook. We also have our community group called the Lifting Lounge on Facebook. And we're also on YouTube now.
Hell
the Lifting
yeah.
Lounge podcast is on YouTube. And our website is either liftinglounge.com or the rdasystem.com, and there you can find our blog and also find information about our system and how you can get involved.
Amazing. And guys, look, wherever you listen to us or watch us, like, share, subscribe, leave us 5-star reviews, do as much as you can to help us spread the word, because in a digital age, we need to get the word out as much as possible against all the shitty other people who are spreading annoyingly crappy, shitty information. So make sure you do that for us, guys. And in the meantime, just be fucking awesome and stay consistent.
Yeah, exactly that.
Whoop, whoop. Until next time, guys, have a great day. We will see you soon.
Bye.